Hello, welcome to another video from Homesteading Off the Grid. In this video, we're not really teaching you how to do anything. I'm actually giving a little bit of testimony about something that happened last night. It's still pretty early here, because you can tell the sun's not even really coming through the windows yet. It's the end of January, and it's been relatively warm for winter the last few days. It's been up into the low 60s, and we've been out cutting some firewood. Perhaps you've been watching some of our videos. But at night, it's still getting down to freezing or below freezing, which is often the case. We're in Virginia. We might have warm days in the winter, but it gets below freezing at night. Now, the weather for the next 2 weeks, it's actually calling to be in the 60s during the day, around freezing at night. So we had planned on not burning any wood, which would allow us to save up what we have left for the rest of the winter. We still got to get through February, March, and we will see cold weather again. So we've been cutting up some logs we've had laying around, even though we've got plenty of wood cut up. We always want to make sure we're entirely prepared. But last night, around 2 o'clock in the morning, the power went out. We've been having high winds. We got rain a couple days ago, but the last couple of nights we've been getting high winds. I guess a tree or maybe a limb from a tree fell on a power line somewhere, and it knocked the power out. So the power goes out at 2 o'clock in the morning. And we have electric baseboard heat aside from our wood stove here. So the heat goes out. So I'm laying in bed. I'm thinking, well, the power's going to come back on. I'm a very light sleeper. I wake up every 30 minutes to an hour, probably anyway, just to kind of see what's going on. I was in Iraq, and this is something that I've kind of dealt with for the last 8 years since I've been home. It is what it is. I don't whine about it. I don't cry about it. It just is what it is. And I don't really mind it, because once I see that everything around me is A-okay, I go back to sleep. However, if things around me aren't A-okay, such was the case last night, I'm able to get up and do something about it. So last night around 3 a.m., I wake up, I see the power's still out, and it's getting really cold. So I say, well, the power's going to come back on. I kind of drift off, wake up at 3:30, the power's still out, and it's really cold in my house. Now, at this point, I said to myself, the power might not come back on until noon tomorrow. We've got to get our son up for school here in about 3 hours. I'm not getting him up to a cold house. And who knows, I didn't know what was going on. Maybe they're going to cancel school, which they didn't. But I got up, and now if my beautiful bride will pan to her right just a little bit, as you can see, even though we were not going to burn for the next 2 weeks, we keep our firewood stash inside our house fully stocked. And this kindling was fully stocked. Now, I got up, the stove was clean, because we keep it clean. Okay, when this fire burns out later today, it's going to be warm. Once these ashes die down, I'll clean it out. I always want to have my wood stove ready to go in case if I need it, which was the case last night. I got up at 3:30, built a fire in no time, less than 5 minutes. And if you haven't seen our video on how to properly start a wood stove fire, make sure to go through our videos and find it. There's more to it than just throwing wood in there and lighting it, as those of you who burn with a wood stove know. If you want to avoid getting a house filled with smoke, you got to do it the right way. So go back and watch that video. I laid down on the couch after I got the fire going. I continued to feed the fire, and 30 minutes later, this room was warm. An hour later, our bedroom, our master bedroom, is off from our living room. We live in an old farmhouse. It's 114 years old. That room was warm. Now, the power came on just before the sun came up, or started to come up. Our kid just got off on the school bus here just a bit ago. It's still dark when he's catching the bus because it's winter. But the point is, whether that power would have come back on or not, when my family woke up in the morning, our house was warm because we were prepared. If the power were still off, our house would still be warm. Our neighbors, maybe not so much. We have a lot of neighbors that have fireplaces, beautiful fireplaces. I'm envious because they have newer houses. We're talking up and down the road because we live out in the country and we don't have any neighbors right on top of us. I'm envious of their fireplaces. And sadly, they don't use them. They've got these big giant HD 4K flat screen TVs in front of the fireplace, and they heat with their central air or their baseboard. Well, they woke up to very cold houses this morning. We didn't. We woke up to a warm house because we use our wood stove. We were prepared, even though the next 2 weeks is going to be warm weather, and we knew we wouldn't be burning ordinarily. When the power went out, and ordinary meant nothing because we were now in a scenario where there was simply no power. We couldn't use baseboard. We were prepared, and we woke up to a warm house. So, so the point of this is, and the testimony is, always be prepared. If you're in the time of year when there can be cold weather, even if just at night, but it's going to be warm during the day, you want to make sure you're prepared to have your fire and have it going in case the power does go out, as it did with us last night. So I hope you enjoyed this little story, this little testimony. Please subscribe to our channel. Go down there and click subscribe, and make sure to check back in with us often for more videos from homesteading off the grid.